You and I both watched those first two games and felt the same sting. They were closer than the record shows. The Chiefs aren't being blown out. They've had every chance to be 2-0. And instead, we're sitting here 0-2 with a pile of small mistakes adding up. That's the first thing I want you to feel when we kick this off. This isn't panic, it's urgency. Execution, not overhaul. Let's start with the moment everyone's talking about. The Kelsey drop that turned into an interception. You heard Travis? On his podcast, Mahomes put the ball where he needed to, and Travis owned the miss. That matters. When your best playmaker steps up and says, "That was mine," it changes the narrative from blame to responsibility. For you in the comments, do you think that play was a one-off mental slip or a sign the offense is pressing too hard without enough weapons? Type execution or injuries below. I'll read what you think. Across both games, there were little margins. A missed field goal, an extra point. Mess in week 1, a drop, and a couple of plays that could have been swung by better protection or 1 extra yard after the catch. The theme keeps repeating. When things go wrong, it's rarely one catastrophic failure. It's 2 or 3 small things stacking up into a loss. That's fixable, and it's the best kind of problem to have because it's coachable. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat the bigger backdrop here. The offense is thinner than last year. No Rashee Rice, limited depth at receiver, and the run game hasn't shown the pop we need. When your offense funnels too much through Travis Kelce, it's fine for short stretches, but teams will tighten coverage and force Mahomes to target other guys. That's where health matters, and why the practice reports this week feel huge. If the Chiefs can get even 1 extra reliable receiver back on the field, it changes how opponents defend them and gives Mahomes more places to go when the pocket collapses. Before we jump into the injury and practice, updates, quick favor. If you're a Chiefs fan and you want fast updates like this, hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers, so this channel can bring you real-time roster moves and breakdowns. Help a fellow fan out. Also, if you like tactical, no-nonsense takes, tap that like button now so I know to keep these coming. All right, let's walk through the names that matter and why each one could change how defenses game plan against us. First up, Xavier Worthy. From the practice glimpses, he's the player I'm most optimistic about. Remember the shoulder injury, a labrum issue? That's not nothing, but Worthy wants to play and the team's planning to brace him up. Even if he's not 100%, having Worthy out there stretches the field. He forces safeties to cheat deep, and that creates space underneath for guys like Kelsey and Tyquan Thornton. If Worthy's at, say, 80 to 85% and wearing a harness, that's still a win, because he creates vertical threats the Chiefs have been missing. Next, Jalen Royals. Rookie speed, quick burst, and the kind of yards after catch ability this offense needs while Rice is suspended. Royals has been dealing with knee tendinitis, so the staff will ramp him up carefully. If he practices fully later in the week, he might be limited early but could still contribute in packages designed to protect the knee. If Royals gets snaps, expect short, quick routes, screens, and chances to let him use his burst in space. Now the wild card, Justin. Or Justin Ross showing up in Kansas City. He was seen around the area, and that raises the practice squad possibility flag. If he signs to the practice squad, he's less of an immediate game changer and more of a depth move. But depth matters when injuries pile up. That's the kind of signing that stabilizes the receiving room and gives the coaches another option for practice reps and emergency elevations. A few quick injury notes you should keep an eye on. Patrick Mahomes popped on the injury. Report with a right wrist designation but was a full participant, which is relieving. It's the kind of thing you monitor, not panic about. Also watch Josh Simmons, who was limited due to illness. That's usually short-term but worth noting for linebacker depth. Now I want you to vote in the comments. Would Worthy at 85% be enough to move the needle this week? Type yes if you think it helps a lot, or no if you think he needs to be 100% to matter. I'll pin the most interesting Responses in the next video. Here's where it gets fun. We've reviewed injuries and who might be available. Now let's talk about how Andy Reid and Matt Nagy can actually weaponize this lineup. First, the deep threat factor with Xavier Worthy. Even at less than 100%, his presence alone changes coverage. If he lines up outside, corners have to respect his speed and safeties naturally drift back. That creates a ripple effect, more room for Travis Kelce to operate underneath, and more space. For mid-range options like Tyquan Thornton, picture the dagger concepts. Worthy pulls coverage deep. Kelce eats in the intermediate zones, and Thornton or even Pacheco on a check down can capitalize. Next, the rookie wrinkle with Jalen Royals. His explosiveness after the catch makes him perfect for manufactured touches, bubble screens, jet sweeps, quick slants. Royals is essentially a mini deep threat and YAC specialist in how they can scheme him open near the line of scrimmage and let him create. The key here, if Royals can give you even 15 to 20 snaps, the Chiefs don't have to overwork Kelce or lean too heavily on Rashee Rice's replacements. He becomes the spark plug that keeps defenses guessing. Now let's talk about depth and flexibility. If Justin Ross lands on the practice squad, it's not about him suiting up immediately. It's about practice rotations and giving Mahomes another big-bodied target to work with in practice. That's valuable when you're building chemistry. Mid-season, and should injuries strike again, Ross becomes a break-glass option. One under-the-radar factor, Josh Simmons' illness. If he's limited, the Chiefs might rotate linebackers differently, maybe leaning more on Willie Gay or pushing extra snaps to safeties in dime looks. That could tilt how the defense plays third down, which indirectly affects how much the offense has to press. If you were Reid, would you use Royals cautiously, maybe 10 snaps, or give him 25 to 30 and let him learn? Under fire? Comment. Limited if you'd keep him on a snap count, or full go if you'd let him rip. Now, we're in the strategy zone. Injuries and depth are important, but football is ultimately about exploiting mismatches. Here are the areas Andy Reid can target based on who's trending to play. First, with Xavier Worthy on the field, even at 80–85%, the obvious matchup to attack is the opponent's second cornerback. Most teams will put their CB1 on him for speed respect, but that leaves the weaker CB or nickelback exposed against Kelce or Thornton. If safeties cheat deep, Mahomes can go to Kelce on digs, outs, or seam routes all day. If they stay shallow, that's when you uncork the bomb to Worthy. Pick your poison. Second, Jalen Royals in the slot. A rookie versus linebackers or safeties in coverage is always favorable for the offense. Royals' quickness means you can scheme quick slants, bubble screens, or motion him into jet sweeps. The defense now has to spend practice time, prepping for gadget plays, even if Royals only gets 10 to 15 touches. That's a classic Andy Reid advantage. Make them defend more than you actually run. Third, the running back factor. With Worthy stretching the field, don't underestimate what this does for Isaiah Pacheco. Defenses can't crowd the box if they're worried about a deep shot. That means lighter fronts, which is where Pacheco's downhill style can take over. Balance is everything. Make linebackers hesitate, and Pacheco gets the 6 to 7 yard chunks that keep drives alive. Flip it to the defensive side. If Josh Simmons isn't fully back from illness, the Chiefs may lean on dime packages with extra DBs. That could expose them to the run, but also creates more opportunities for guys like Shamari Connor to make plays in coverage. And remember, Mahomes being on the injury report with that wrist is worth noting, but with him practicing fully, defenses won't be able to count on it limiting him. So what does this mean practically? The Chiefs can force the defense into constant adjustments. Do you load up to stop Kelce? Then Worthy and Royals beat you with speed. Do you sit back to stop the deep ball? Then Pacheco runs wild. That's the chess match we'll be watching Sunday. Quick poll for you. If you're Andy Reid, who do you feed first to set the tone? Worthy deep, Kelce underneath, or Pacheco inside? Drop your answer below, and I'll highlight a few in the next breakdown. Now let's wrap it all together with final predictions and the X factors to watch. If Xavier Worthy is active, even with the brace and at 80 to 85%, he's my primary X factor. He doesn't need 8 catches to impact the game. 2 or 3 explosive plays are enough to tilt field position and keep defenses honest. Worthy's speed alone gives Mahomes that vertical option he's been missing when Rashee Rice is sidelined. Jalen Royals is my second X factor. If he plays, he adds that gadget element, motion, screens, quick hitters. Even the 20 snaps from Royals means defenses must respect the horizontal game and the deep ball. That spreads the field for Kelce and Pacheco to do their thing. And speaking of Travis Kelce, this feels like one of those games where the veteran reminds everyone he's still the heartbeat of the offense. With defenses stretched out by Worthy and Royals, Kelce could eat underneath and rack up 8 to 10 targets. Expect him to be Mahomes' safety valve when drives stall. On defense, Shamari Connor is an under-the-radar name to watch. If Simmons is limited, Connor's ability to play in dime packages and cover ground becomes critical. Don't be shocked if he makes one of those momentum-shifting plays late. Prediction time. If Worthy suits up, the Chiefs' offense looks a lot sharper than it did without Rice. Pacheco benefits from lighter boxes, Kelce gets his volume, and Mahomes gets just enough explosive plays to open things up. I see Kansas City pulling out a gritty but controlled win. Something like 27-20. Now it's your turn. What's your prediction? Drop your final score guess in the comments. I'll pin one that nails the vibe of this matchup. And remember, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're building this channel with you, the kingdom, and the goal is to get to 5,000 subs by the end of the season. Every click helps us bring you faster breakdowns and game day prep. That's the full report for this week. We covered the mood after 2 games, who's trending to play, how Reed can weaponize the returns, the matchups to exploit, and the X factors that could swing a game. Keep the conversation going in the comments. I'll be reading and featuring the best takes. Thanks for sitting with me. Get ready, because if these X factors show up, Kansas City's about to remind the league they're still the team to beat.